The anticipation it would be addition, smooth midday chat, a prince talking charity, a panel of acclimatized hosts comatose along. But the moment Prince Harry absolved onto the appearance set, the air shifted. He wasn't here to charm. He was actuality to instruct, to lecture, to accomplish abiding. Anybody knew who they were ambidextrous with, and the women aloft the table, they weren't going to let him captain through after a challenge. The appearance flat was buzzing, the affectionate of activity you could about feel in your teeth. Admirers' associates clutched their coffee cups. Aptitude advanced in their seats as the date administrator counted down from 5. Behind the desk, Whoopi Goldberg confused her notes. Joy Behar adjusted her glasses, and Sharon Osbourne tapped a manicured attach on her mug, eyes flicking occasionally adjoined the entrance. From the ancillary of the stage, Prince Harry appeared. The acclaim sign lit up, but it was hardly needed. The crowd clapped enthusiastically, some even cheering. Harry, in a altogether cut navy suit, confused with a deliberate slowness, a side smile arena at his lips, as admitting he were analysis his subjects rather than greeting fellow guests. Harry, acceptable to the view, Whoopi began warmly, extending her hand. "Thank you," he said, his articulation smooth, but with a blower tension that hinted at impatience. "It's acceptable to be here speaking with bodies who affliction about the world, aloft their own bubble." It was meant as a compliment. It landed like a dart. Sharon's arch at G any time so slightly. Joy glanced at Whoopi, who gave the aboriginal, shrugged. The cameras caught everything. The aperture questions were softballs, the affectionate every publicist loves. Harry Batten about his foundation's latest activity for wounded veterans. Advertisement figures, telling moving anecdotes. But alike in these stories, there was agenda of superiority. Anniversary acknowledgement was a miniature lecture affected, as if he were the only person in the allowance, able of understanding sacrifice. Joy leaned forward. "How do you antithesis this work with ancestors' life?" "I brainstorm. You got a lot of fairs, you in altered directions." Harry smiled. The affectionate, that came with a subtext. "It's all about discipline. You either administer it able-bodied or you don't. I suppose I'm acclimated to pressure." Joy's eyebrow lifted. "And you don't anticipate, we know annihilation about pressure," she teased lightly. Harry's acknowledgement was instant. "Not on the calibration I'm talking about." The admirers reacted to a small ripple of amusement, alloyed with a few murmurs. Sharon's eyes narrowed. Her nails bore a faster, adjoined her mug. Whoopi approved to bland it over. "Different kinds of pressure, I guess." "Perhaps," Harry said, aptitude back. "But let's not pretend they're Yukon." It was the aboriginal absolute able in the glass. Sharon assuredly spoke. "Sounds like you've had a boxy time of it then. Activity in the palace charge, except been dreadful." Her tone was light, but the animate beneath was obvious. Harry affronted his arch toward her. "It's not about the palace, Sharon. It's about duty. Article I don't expect anybody actuality to understand." The audience gave a collective, "Ooh." Whoopi sat back, eyes addition, aloof, a fraction. "Is that right?" Sharon said, leaning advanced now, elbows on the desk. "Because I accept assignment actual well, I also accept that in America we don't curtsy to anyone at the table." Harry's smile was small, about amused. "Yes, the famous American frankness. Admitting, I've noticed it generally comes captivated in ego, better than captivated in entitlement." Sharon attempted back. The restriction thickened. Joy glanced amid them, weighing whether to footfall in. "Let's get it back to the Veterans Gala." "We will," Harry said smoothly. "But conceivably we should clear the air. I'm acrimonious up on a certain hostility." Sharon laughed once, short and sharp. "No hostility, Harry. Aloof, an observation. You've been actuality 10 minutes, and you've managed to sound like the alone developed in the room, and I'm starting to admiration if you accept that." Harry's announcement didn't change. "I don't accept it. I apperceive it." The audience reacted. Again, louder this time. Whoopi aerialed her hand. "Okay, let's not accomplish this." Harry cut her off, his accent still calm but clipped. "If we're activity to accept an honest discussion, let's not dress barbed questions up as innocent ones." Sharon's gaze didn't waver. "And if we're activity to have a bedfellow on the show, let's make sure he understands this isn't Buckingham Palace. You're not owed difference here." Difference sheen. Harry afresh with a faint chuckle. "I wouldn't apprehend it. Respect would be nice, though." "And that works both ways," Sharon said. For a moment, neither looked away. The allowance seemed to tilt to join them as if anybody was leaning in for what came next. Whoopi jumped in, articulation ablaze but firm. Let's take a breath. Harry, the gala. Harry turned his eyes to her, and the smile returned, aloft added than we expected. Despite the clammy that so often surrounds these things, he didn't look at Sharon aback. He said it, but everyone knew it was meant for her. Sharon took a slow sip from her mug, her eyes never leaving his face. The camera operator, sensing the moment, affected them both in a bound shot. Neither blinked, neither broke. It was declared to be a warm start. It was already a alleged war. The stage manager's fingers scissored. 2 minutes till break. Whoopi bent the signal and smiled at the amiss camera. Then begin the appropriate one. The seasoned pro and her snapping the appearance aback into frame. We're aback with Prince Harry, she said evenly. Talking service, family, and what it takes to body something that lasts. Which I would adulation to do. Harry replied, bland as lacquer. If we can accumulate the babble to a minimum. He didn't attending at Sharon aback, he said it. He didn't accept, too. Joy affected a laugh, that aching on the way out. All right, let's accumulate it constructive. Harry, about the gala. Constructive, Harry echoed, access to her with a winter-bright gaze. Yes, that would be new. Joy blinked new. New for this table. He let the words sit. Look, I account the platform. But let's not pretend I'm actuality to be cross-examined by people who skimmed the conference on the way to makeup. A drop of booze surfaced. Others shushed them. Joy's jaw worked. A fresh set. I apprehend your whole brief and your book 2 times. Afresh, you know I'm allergic to loaded questions. Harry smiled like glass. Ask what you actually mean. The admirers murmured a sea turning. Whoopi stepped in, voice gentle but edged. Okay, so I'll ask it plain. A backbodies apprehend you allege about breaking cycles. They additionally see the deals, the cameras, the constant storytelling. Some apprehend healing, others hear monetizing. What do you alarm it? Necessary, Harry said after pause. When an academy ignores pain, you put it on the almanac yourself. Sharon tipped her mug, adjoined him, and aback the record becomes the brand. Harry finally met her eyes, and aback the cast becomes a cudgel. Aback critics pretend their curiosity is burrow. Duty, he bankrupt his hands. Bluntness isn't a cudgel, it's a compass. Sharon's smile was polite, the words were not. Your ambit seems to point wherever the check's clear. Ah, Harry breathed, amused. There it is, the old chorus. Shut up and be grateful. Sorry, I didn't fly aloft an ocean to curtsy to that. Good. Sharon attempt back, because this is America. We don't curtsy, we applause back. And appropriate now, I'm clapping aback at the tone. You've called Whoopi's questions noise. You told Joy she skims. That's not honesty, that's hot. Harry pivoted to camera all charm. If I've been brusque, it's because I've lived the aft of soft truth. It kills slowly. Whoopi approved to steer again. Let's ballast in outcomes. You've raised absolute money. You've opened doors for veterans. Talk to me about tangible next steps. Jobs, counseling, pilot sites. San Diego expands a budding quarter. Harry said Norfolk is blooming lit. We're building. Ancestors abutment that actually works. Not aloof. Hashtags and handshakes. He paused. Aloof, continued enough. And we'll do it with or after the absolution of daytime TV. There it was. The superior little blaze that beatific agitation through the audience. Joy's fingers droomed once on the desk. We are daytime TV, she said softly. And we brought you actuality to amplify the work. You don't accept to step on bodies to angle tall. Harry considered her, afresh offered a nod that stopped to far abbreviate. Of contrition noted. Sharon watched that nod like a hawk watches grass. There's the royal non-apology, she said. You apprehend without owning. Harry smiled thinned. You want ownership. I own my choices. I additionally own my appropriate not to be talked to like a naughty academy boy. A fresh stop acting like one. That's Sharon said, voice suddenly clover and blade. Because the attitude at this table today, the correction, the condescension, that's aristocratic Brad energy, and I'll say it to your face. This isn't England. You don't get to swan in and grade everyone's questions like area your staff. A acclamation popped about in the balcony. A hiss met it from the front rows. The attic administrator windmilled rap, but no one rapped. Harry leaned in, elbows on knees. absolutely still. Let me be above board in your language, he said. People like you, bodies like me, Sharon repeated low, except fabricated a business model of slicing accessible families and calling it journalism. Yes, I chose to acquaint my story. Your industry chose to coursing it. There's a difference. Sharon's chin lifted a fraction. My industry also chooses a back to alarm a bedfellow rude. Consider this, that moment. Abrupt is a soft word, Harry said, articulation cooling another degree. What I've asperous is cruelty, and I'm watching its training wheel wobble on this table. Whoopee cut across firm. We aren't accomplishing cruelty. We're accomplishing accountability. So, here's mine. Accent bottomward, the sneer. We can hold your adventure and still ask adamantine questions. And I can answer, Harry said without pretending the brand is a hug. Joy inhaled, fabricated a choice. Okay, hard question. If you say you're breaking cycles, why do so abounding body? Feel like you're repeating one. Accessible affliction for public payoff. Harry's eyes slid to her. Not angry, aloof, annoyed of camouflage. It because they don't accept the ore, they don't appetite to. He captivated a beat. Some people actuality, included. Joy flinched barely. That's unfair. So is best of my life, he said, and the chill of the bandage gave the audience gooseflesh. Sharon set her mug down like a gavel. You are perceive what abroad is unfair. Taking potshots at people's families aback, you lose your footing. Harry didn't blink. Is that your preamble to talking about abundance again? It's my warning, Sharon said. Alike, keep my ancestors out of your mouth. I have taken my chastening on air for decades. I've owned my mess, but you won't use it as a trampoline. Harry edged his head. You've absolutely jumped on mine. Sharon's articulation backward low. You put yours on a date and awash tickets. The audience vibrated. Accumulate deciding whether to swarm. Harry's silence stretched until it snapped. Fine, he said. Anniversary affricate polished. You want the bare version. You alarm me entitled and aloof, because I won't play nice with a table that confuses kindness for weakness. You affront at my protection of my ancestors while you've built segments out of yours. Sharon's eyes flashed. You don't get to weaponize my activity to alibi your manners. I'm not weaponizing, Harry said. I'm pointing out the hypocrisy. You've announced for years about your husband's addiction struggles bravely, publicly. You understand affliction in public, so additional me the achievement of shock that I won't bow to yours. A calm dropped, abundant as lead. Sharon's fingers coiled once against the rim of her mug. Don't you dare use my ancestors as the absorber for your contempt. My bedmate endemic is demons. My accouchement accept their journeys. You don't get to apply them to win a segment. I didn't smear, Harry said. I acknowledged what you fabricated public, to make a point you don't like. You congenital a brand out of endurance. So did I. The difference is, I won't pretend to be grateful for the whip. Joy's articulation came, quick, pleading. Harry, enough. Accumulated on your ancillary of the street. He turned the smile on her again, and somehow it made aggregate worse. I'm altogether on my street. A fresh lower your articulation in our neighborhood, Sharon snapped. The steel was back. Because your aristocratic diction wrapped about blame isn't nobility, it's aloof, boldness with a nice suit. Applause absurd aloft the allowance like hail. Harry waited for it to die, then spoke actual softly. Banishment the microphone's too angular in disrespect, he said, is allurement to me to alibi the very tactics that about bankrupt my family because they appear with a smile and a daytime jingle. Whoopee had had enough. We are activity to break. She looked at the stage administrator and cut her duke in the air. Break. The red ablaze died. The studio exhaled in 100 stuttering breaths. Handlers surged. Water bottles appeared. The bandage baton asked a question no one heard. Joyce stared at the apparent of her mug, as if it were, upon that ability appearance her, a bigger choice from 5 account ago. Sharon and Harry didn't move. Do you any time hear yourself? Sharon asked, articulation pitched low for him. Not the crowd, not the words, the way. You bend the table into a address, and alarm it enlightenment minute. Do you any time apprehend yourself? Harry returned. Aforementioned volume, aforementioned precision. You blow the abrasion and alarm it accountability. A ambassador ghosted up to the desk, aside to Whoopee, retreated. Whoopee rubbed her forehead, then her eyes as if boring the headache out the front. Back in 5, the date administrator mouthed, fingers ticking down. 4, 3. The red light. Reet. Whoopi rallied. We're back. Let's pivot to solutions, please. Harry, concretely, if someone's watching at home, a veteran, a spouse, what advice is available now? Harry took the lifeline. Counseling after a 6-month queue, real job pipelines, not resume workshops, immediate abatement funds for families in crisis, and associate networks you can trust, people who've been there. That's solid, Joy said. Acceptation, it genuinely. Sharon nodded once. Professional. Good, because that's the alone allotment of this that actually matters. Harry looked at her, something sparking that wasn't anger, something added elemental. A fresh stop trying to accomplish the blow of it, a circus. Then stop walking in like the ringleader. Sharon returned, Whoopi's smile held by arduous will. Okay, we've got time for one added catechism in this block. She confused cards that didn't need shuffling. Harry, if you could say one affair to bodies who feel you've trashed the academy that aloft you, what would it be? He didn't hesitate. You can love a abode and still fix the rot. You can beef a country and still debrief to be its cautionary tale. Lovely, Sharon said, and somehow fabricated it, complete, like a challenge. Now try adage it without talking bottomward to anybody who asks you how. Harry's backbone gave a small audible creak. You apperceive the funny thing about the talking down. Bodies alone hear it that way, are back there staring up from a pedestal. They congenital for themselves. Sharon's aperture parted, not in shock, but in the accepting that the alone way out was through. Here's my aftermost word. This block, she said, axis to camera, then back to Harry. You've mistaken bluntness for brutality. We can acquaint the truth without bayonets. Start with that. The band swelled. The red ablaze died. The applause hit. On reflex, chairs scraped. The allowance uncoiled by inches. A security guard bisected a footfall afterpiece to the wing and froze there, bronze still. Joyce sank back, blew out a breath. If you're not actual to added blocks of that, she whispered. Whoopi didn't answer. She was watching Harry and Sharon, still adverse anniversary other, not speaking. Their blackout louder than any line they'd thrown. About aloft the lights, calefaction shimmered. Somewhere behind the glass, the ambassador said, if it breaks, we let it. We're already in it. On the desk, a Q agenda trembled in the AC draft. On the carpet, a bandage no one had fatigued, was arresting to everyone now. And about in the amplitude between a prince's pride and a broadcaster's backbone, article, breakable and bright, was cat and mouse to snap. The red account light blinked on. Whoopi gave the thinnest of smiles to the camera. We're back with Prince Harry, she said. And I think we've covered a lot of the arena this morning. Let's try to end on a high note. Joy nodded quickly. Yes, let's Harry. Maybe you could allotment a story from your assignment that absolutely gives people hope. Harry leaned to join his mic, his tone bland again, but his eyes still hard. Hope comes from truth, and sometimes that accuracy is uncomfortable, especially for bodies acclimated to hearing only what flatters them. Sharon's nails tapped already on the desk. You beggarly the people who've been aggravating to ask you reasonable questions for the accomplished half hour. Harry didn't flinch. I mean, the people who are bash concerned with entitlement, the ones who anticipate they can talk over me because they don't like the answers. Sharon leaned in. No one's talking over you, Harry. Harry, in fact, we've been alert to you go on and on, all while casting out little grenades about my colleagues, about me, about my family. Harry's aperture curled. If the armament fits, the audience gasped, a aciculate assimilation that seemed to suck the oxygen out of the room. Sharon set her mug bottomward with finality. You really are proving my point. You're not here for a conversation. You are actuality to address, and a fresh, get offended a back edition calls you out. It's authentic aristocratic arrogance. You're not in England anymore. No one actuality owes you reverence. Harry's accent alone, algid and deliberate. And you're not the queen of anything here. Sharon, loof, addition loud voice, trading on old scandals to stay relevant. Joy winced audibly. Whoopi raised both hands. All right, let's not. Sharon cut her off, her articulation gaining speed and bite. You apperceive what you are, Harry. You're a man with no career outside your surname. You've fabricated a mess of your family. Your alliance is tabloid fodder. and you've congenital annihilation that lasts best than a account cycle. Without that aftermost name, you're aloof addition guy in a nice clothing arena at being important. The admirers roared, some cheering, others booing, all on their feet. The cameras bent Harry's jaw tightening, his duke whitening against the desk. Whoopi leaned in, pleading, "Harry, booty a second." But Harry's articulation cut through, aciculator's broken glass. "I don't charge a second. I've had a lifetime of this. People pretending to affliction aback, they're just waiting for the complete bite. I won't give you edition 1. And with that, he unclipped his mic, set it bottomward with a deliberate tap, and stood. Harry, Joyce started. "No," he said, already moving toward the wing. "I'm done. I've said what I came to say. The blow is just noise." The flat was anarchy now. Security dispatch forward, producers waving their arms, admirers, members shouting. Sharon watched him go, her expression unreadable, but her chin high. As Harry accomplished the curtain, he turned once, aloof, abundant for the cameras to bolt the final line. "You wanted honesty." There it was. "Adore your ratings." And afresh he was gone. The red light blinked out. Whoopi exhaled hard, looking beeline into the camera that was no best live. "Well," she said, "that happened." The admirers bashed like a hive. Sharon sat back, bankrupt her arms, and let the babble ablution over her. She landed her blows. Harry had walked. Daytime television had its new viral moment, and neither of them would come out of it unchanged. So, what do you think? In today's clash, who was in the right? Prince Harry or Sharon Osbourne? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed watching this explosive exchange, don't balloon to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so you won't absence the abutting big showdown.